Welcome to the tutorial to complete the Microsoft Official Academic Course Labs Online, or MOAC, for CPT 176, CPT 209, and CPT 255. Hopefully at this point you have purchased your text as well as your MOAC access code. You need those in front of you to be able to complete this process. This is where you will go to complete your labs. You can access it by going to your home page and clicking on the link your instructor has provided, but I would suggest that you either bookmark this page or actually pull the URL out and make a shortcut, because you'll be going here frequently. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing you need to do once you have your code in place and in front of you is click on Register. Now you can go ahead and create your account. We're going to create an account for James Student, and we're going to call him js@gmail.com, js@gmail.com, and the password, make sure you use a complex password so that no one can access your website without actually knowing what your password is. We're going to say I'm not a robot, and we'll click on Register. And this takes you to where you add your code. This is where that registration code needs to go in. You would just type it in right here, click on Add Code, and then you will see that it takes a few seconds, so don't panic, but eventually it will show up right here with the expiration date, the code used, and right underneath that it's going to ask you for your classroom code. Your instructor will give you that. It will probably be listed again on your home page in D2L. Make sure that you have that so that you can enter it. You must also enter in the classroom. Now I am going to log James out and sign in as myself so that I can show you what's going on in this course. Your next step should be to go up to My Account. Here's my account information. Down here under Update Your RDP Preferences, be sure that you select Use HTML5. By default, the Use ActiveX is selected. You need to select Use the HTML5 and update your preferences. That way you'll be able to use this, access this lab, and have everything work correctly regardless of what browser you're working on. So be sure that you do that. Now if you are in CPT 176, this will be what you see, or what you should see, is MOAC 70-410 R2. Make sure for whatever course you're in that you have the R2. That is the updated version of the labs. 70-411 R2 is for CPT 209, and 70-412 R2 is for CPT 255. If you have one of these older versions without the R2, get back with Wiley immediately and make sure that you get the correct version, or you will not be as successful in your labs as you would like to be. So now your lab will actually show up right here. You would click on, if you're in CPT 176, and in order to start your labs, here's what you see. For Lab 1, you see this R201, MOAC Installing Servers. We click on Lab Details. It says the duration is 120 minutes and you'll perform a clean install. You click on Take the Lab, and while the lab is loading, this can take just a few seconds. It can also take quite a while, so you just have to be patient with it and let it run. Again, going back to the fact that you've selected the HTML5 means that if you have a very slow internet link, you may be needing to complete these labs on campus. You can do that and not have any issues regardless of what computer you use. And since it's online, you can do it from anywhere. Here we go. Connecting, and here is your computer. This is literally an actual server. It's a virtual server somewhere in Wiley land out there on the cloud, and you are going to do a clean installation of Windows Server 2012. Now, a couple of things to be aware of. Virtual machine right here. This is right now referred to as a bare metal machine. It's also referred to as Server A, as you will see when you work through the lab. The other machines that are available to you include Server B and Server C. That's the nice thing about these labs. Every computer you need to complete the lab is available to you right here. So we'll click on Server B just very quickly. You'll see it's in Server Manager. They've already set it up in the right place for you to do the work that you need to do to complete the lab. But let's go back to our bare metal lab. Our bare metal machine is over here a little bit. That's kind of strange, but that's okay. Under Actions, when the lab tells you to press Control-Alt-Delete, be sure that you go under Actions and hit Control-Alt-Delete here. Your keyboard controls your computer, not this virtual machine. So if you hit Control-Alt-Delete on your computer, it's going to take you out of this lab. So you hit this Control-Alt-Delete. Also, paste content is a great tool. If you have a command string that you need to put into the command prompt on a server, copy it from your lab manual and use paste content to put it into your lab. That way, if there's a space you're unaware of, you're not going to have to worry about finding it and putting it in place. It makes it a lot easier. And then, of course, you hit this button to end your lab. Now, I mentioned the lab manual. You get that by going up here under Files. Click on Files. There is a user guide if you want to read that, but this is the lab manual. This is where you get it to get the lab manual for this lab. And you see it gets downloaded. We can actually open it up. I'm going to close this. And here is the lab manual. These give you all of the information. You're going to do exercise 1.1, 1.2, and the lab challenge. The computers that are required are the bare metal machine and one server, which is Server C. So you have Server A and Server C. The software you need is already mounted onto Server A, and then this is your lab worksheet. So we start down here. We're going to select the Server A computer on which the is installed, mounted, and loaded, and the Windows Setup page appears. There it is. We're going to click Next to accept the defaults, and then let me open up Word again. Okay, Word document, come to the front, there we go. And we're going to click, okay, we clicked Next. We're going to click Install Now and let it start working through the process. The Select Operating System you want to install page appears. First we look at the fact that setup is starting. Here we're supposed to select Server 2012 R2 Data Center. Now right now we don't know which one is Data Center with the GUI because we can't see it. Here's Data Center. If you look, this is just like a spreadsheet. I can slide this over, and now we know that this is the one with the Graphical User Interface, or GUI. We can select that and click on Next. We accept the license agreement, click on Next. We're going to do a custom install, and now we are, you see here we have this image, this figure for where do you want to install page, and here it is. We are going to use the O drive, which is unallocated space. So here we're going to click Next. But before we do that, let's look at our questions here. What should you do if the drive on which you want to install Windows Server 2012 R2 already has a partition on it containing an operating system and data that you do not need? Here is the process you are required to follow when you answer a question. Click inside that box, hit Enter, turn your text red, and to answer this question we would be typing on the where Do you want to install Windows page? Click Drive, Options, Advanced, to display additional controls that you can use to delete the existing or create and format a new one. That is the way, let's delete that T. That is the way you need to answer your question, with red text filled inside the box. You will do that with each of the questions that you have to answer in here. Second question, what should you do if the where you want to install Windows page appears but it does not list any drives or partitions? Now you could go with something a little bit shorter. You would need to load the driver, so you would click Load Driver. Then on the Load Driver window, select Browse and then select the driver for your hardware. Okay, whoops, I didn't turn it red. At least it was highlighted, but we should be turning the text red. Okay, so we've answered the first two questions on this lab. Now we're going to click Next, and it's going to now start installing Windows. This is what leads to having the lab take somewhere closer to 120 minutes to complete it, is going through that process. So while it's doing that, I'm going to walk you through some of the other steps you need to follow as you are submitting your labs. Once you have answered your questions, you also have screenshots that you need to put in place, but you are then required to delete the steps. So we're going to go up here right underneath Lab 1 Installing Servers and begin deleting everything down to the first question. You want to delete the figures and all of the steps. I'm going to hit delete, and now everything's gone except the questions and my answers. I'm going to do the same thing underneath after I've gotten to that point in the lab and delete everything down to here for right now. As you see right here, it says select the server A computer on which you installed Windows Server previously in this lab. Click Control-Alt-Delete. Remember, that's under Actions, not hitting Control-Alt-Delete, and the Windows login page will appear. Then you type in password and press Enter. There is the password you'll use in every single lab you take. Now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to pretend, because I'm not going to keep you on here for 45 minutes, that you have completed this lab down to question 3. You would then answer question 3 and then look right here. Now it says take a screenshot of the command prompt window by pressing Alt Print Screen and then paste into your lab. Well, the easiest way to do this I have found is by using the snipping tool. When you get to this point, you should hit Enter, give yourself a little bit of space, might want to hit it a couple of times. Now you've got some space in which to place your screenshot. I like to recommend that you use the snipping tool, which I just go down here to my search box and type in snip, and I get the snipping tool. Now I have it right here. A couple of things you have to do with your screenshot. So I'm going to click New, and I'm going to come over here. I need to get, obviously, the image that they want us to get, but I also need to go all the way over to where I capture the date and time on my computer. You must submit this or your screenshots will not be accepted. So you must have date and time on your computer included in your screenshot in order to submit it. If not, then we will not give you credit for that screenshot. So be sure you get that date and time in place. Now, I've got my image. I'm going to go up and click Edit and Copy. Now I'm going to move this out of the way, pull back my lab manual, and I'm going to go right here and paste that in. Now this might be a little disconcerting to you because all you see is a line. But if you click on that line and go up to Picture Tools and Format, you can then select to wrap text. I recommend you do top and bottom. That way the text is wrapped around both top and bottom. And here is my screenshot. You see I have my date and time down from the bottom right hand corner of my screen, and while this is not the image that's required for this lab, I'm putting this in for demonstration purposes in order to help you complete these labs successfully. So remember, use your picture tools and wrap your text top and bottom, and then if your image is in the wrong place, you can move it down. Now it's in the right place. I would then delete these steps. The lab challenge is required in every course. It is just like the lab. You must do it. So go ahead and work your way through and complete the lab challenge. Here you have another screenshot that is due, so you need to get that completed and submit it as well. So this lab requires that you answer 3 questions, take 2 screenshots, and then it would be ready for you to submit. Remember, you've got to delete all of the steps, so if I were submitting this, I would be deleting down to here, putting in another screenshot, and then deleting all of this. Now it is ready to be submitted into the Dropbox for this lab. Now, if you have 2 labs due during a week or 3 labs due during a week, all of them must be submitted in the same document. So once you get them completed, copy and paste one from the other and submit it in the same document. Then you would paste that into the Dropbox and your lab would be considered complete. That's it for how to submit your labs. Hopefully this will help you get started and be successful throughout this course. Remember, if you don't have your MOAC lab code, get it now. If you have any questions, that's why you have an instructor. That's what we're here for. Reach out to us by email or telephone, and we'll get back with you as quickly as possible. Have a great day.